Hey guys, how you guys doing today? Okay, tell me where you're joining me from. Okay, I'm Dr. Steven. I'm joining you live from Singapore. You guys can see me. Funny enough, don't know why my screen looks somehow. I don't know. It looks somehow. Is it? I hope it's not a particular type of what is it, filter you guys call it now. I hope my phone didn't automatically just join a particular type of filter. But how you guys doing? Let me clear my screen. Okay, I think it's better now. Okay, better. Well, it's Christmas here in Singapore. There's already a lot of Christmas feeling. Casey from Ikeja, and Johnson from Nigeria. Where Nigeria? Luatoyin from Lagos. Welcome, guys. So tell me your name and the city you're joining me from. Okay. So I'm here in Singapore, ladies and gentlemen. It's my first time in Singapore. First time visiting. I love it. There's so much real estate lessons to learn. Bees from Calgary, welcome. Sports store from Dubai, welcome. Anthony from Kano, Marezi from Lagos. By the way, Jumoke from Los Angeles. By the way, Singapore is 7 hours ahead of Nigeria, 4 hours ahead of Dubai, and the US is about 14 hours, okay, ahead of Central Standard Time, USA. Tolani from Gombe, welcome. So I'm much ahead of you guys. I believe it's morning where most of you are, and you joining me from Los Angeles is probably the night of the previous day that you are joining me from. But welcome. I want to share with us lessons from real estate lessons from Singapore. Okay, real estate lessons. I'm doing a work. Remember, I love working. And thank God I'm in the busy strip. A lot of this is the 40th Christmas on great streets, right? So they've already started the Christmas decorations. Everywhere is so well decorated. In the night, when you come out, probably I'll come out in the night, you're gonna love Singapore. Okay, you will love it. But the first real estate lessons I learned from Singapore, and I've never been to Singapore before we made up our mind that's what we want to do, is about green energy and nature. Okay, mixing nature with real estate designs, right? These are real, they are not plastic anyway. And everywhere you go in Singapore, you're gonna see trees, you're gonna see flowers, even on top of buildings, right? As we're going, you're gonna be seeing more of that. And it was intentionally done. In fact, the former president Lee Kuan Yew, who is one of my leadership role model, insisted that if your car accidentally hit a tree, okay, you're gonna pay. There's a fine. Literally, you had an accident and your car hit a tree, you're owing the government $2,000. Can you believe that? That's how much priority, his government placed on greenery. And he was a man who saw tomorrow, right? I mean, at the time, Lee Kuan Yew was big about green concept to real estate. The world wasn't yet thinking about renewable energy, green nature. The world wasn't thinking about that. but he was ahead. The same thing people often tell me, oh, why are you particular about green and smart home in Nigeria? Right? Nigeria is still having so much housing deficit. They're even thinking of getting more houses. You are thinking of the aesthetics of making the house green. And I'm like, the best way to create the future or to predict the future is to create it. Let me say that again. The best way to predict the future is to create it. People often ask me, how do you predict the future? Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Then I say to them, create it. Go ahead. Be the leader. Okay? Be ahead of everybody else. And that's what Lincoln You's done. Even though it was a government decision, it has now become a culture here in Singapore where the houses are green, okay? The buildings, they are very conscious of renewable energy as well, but more importantly, green environment. Trees are everywhere. The air you breathe is good. You're gonna live long when you live here. Okay, are you learning, guys? If you're learning, tap I'm learning. Okay, come on, talk to me. I want to be sure everybody can hear me and you're here. If you're learning, tap I'm learning. Feel free to invite people to this broadcast. So share it. Get more people to join us. Okay? Invite as many people as you can. Real Timmy. How are you? Real Timmy. So, Bees Lounge, learning, good. Olu, Kikiola, learning. Everybody's learning is good. So, invite your friends, let everybody join us. Again, for those of you just joining, I'm live here in Singapore. It's my first time visiting Singapore. A lot of traveling this year. Thank God for good health and the energy to be able to do it. I'm forever grateful to God for good health. Forever grateful to God. Because these are part of the things that money can't buy. Money can't buy good health. And I've been able to travel a lot this year. And one of the most exciting cities to visit is Singapore. And for me, it was important because of my real estate dreams. I needed to see. Remember, you can't create a future that you have not been exposed to. Something called the law of attraction. Okay, I want everybody to help me type this. Law of attraction. And the law of attraction says you attract into your life people, situations, and circumstances that correlate with your dominant thoughts. The law of attraction says, please help me type it. The law of attraction says you attract into your life people, situations, and circumstances that correlate with your dominant thoughts. Okay? So, if you want to attract something, you need to feed your eyes with that thing. You need to see it. You need to feel it. So for me, why was it important to visit Singapore? I'm building green and smart home. Yes, the green is about renewable energy, but part of the green is also green nature, trees and plants and things like that. And Singapore is many, many years ahead of that. I need to see a living, live city, breathing city that is already living that. Okay, because that kind of visit then gives you a picture. Okay, and it then makes your ability to create that picture easier. Okay, are we learning, guys? For learning, type I'm learning. Remember, invite more people to join this conversation. I'm sharing real estate lessons I'm learning from Singapore. Okay, and the first is the ability to infuse plants, okay, greenery into modern city. In fact, a lot of the skyscrapers infuse plants into it. Inside of their buildings, there are plants in them. Okay, they've just created this. Everywhere you see green, you see plants, intentionally done. It wasn't by mistake. It wasn't by advice. It was intentional. Number two, if you're ready for number two, type I'm ready, I'm ready. Number 2 real estate lessons I am learning from Singapore, and this is very powerful. I've seen this in some streets in London, Oxford Street, also in New York. I've seen that as well. But I think Singapore took it to another level. Okay, so in Singapore, a lot of the everywhere seemingly is a mall, particularly when you are in the shopping districts. Okay, the shopping area of the downtown. Almost everywhere, ground floor is a mall. Can you see? They don't even carry the name, but it's everywhere. You know, Blueberry, and you're seeing all your designers, right? The ability to maximize their buildings for both residential and commercial. So that's number 2. Ability to maximize their buildings for both residential and commercial. That's number 2 lesson. Okay, ability to maximize their buildings both for residential and commercial. Ability to maximize their building both for residential and commercial. For me, I think this is one of the most beautiful ideas I'm seeing here. Like I said, I've seen some other countries, but Singapore took it to the next level. There's a higher dimension of intentionality when it comes to leveraging on buildings, converting buildings to malls, right? And then the upper parts is able to then continue to do residential. The hotel I'm currently staying, okay, I was shocked when I pressed the elevator to number 2, which I thought was supposed to be ground floor or something, only to come out and then guess what? I'm in a mall. Practically, like once I came out of the elevator, Google Boss here, different big shopping mall. I'm practically shocked how, you know, they were able to leverage on the entire ground floor of the hotel. You know, I mean 2-3 floors of the hotel. And no little wonder the reception of the hotel starts from the 5th floor, right? So where you're going to check in the hotel is from the 5th floor. And now I'm realizing that the reason for that was because apparently maybe the 1st to the 5th floor is all malls, okay? All malls. And you can see the Christmas light decoration is already on. In fact, this is the 40th year anniversary of decorating their downtown with Christmas lights. I'm still going to come out in the night. You guys are going to love it, right? You will really, really love it. And love the beautiful Singapore. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Singapore. In fact, that's the word. Beautiful Singapore. Okay. Are you guys learning? Again, if you're learning type, I'm learning. Okay? If you're learning type, I'm learning. I'm telling you real estate lessons I'm learning from visiting Singapore. And I've shared the first one, I've shared the second one, and I'm about to go to the third one. Real estate lessons. For me, when I visit big countries, great countries, I'm trying to learn. Okay, I'm a addicted student of life, addicted to learning, addicted to reviewing things, and I learn most by observation, right? I'm somebody who learns most by observation, and I think the second way I learn is by asking questions. So my driver from the airport to my hotel, I asked him as many questions as possible. Okay? As many questions as possible. And the number 3 lesson were some of the lessons, the question I asked my driver on my way. How long did Lee Kuan Yew rule Singapore? How long was he a leader? Was it the Prime Minister of Singapore? And he told me over 50 years. So I was shocked. In fact, I started arguing. So I told him, let me check Google. I said, are you sure? So it wasn't like argue. I just said, are you sure? I said, let me check on Google because I didn't believe that. Only to check on Google and realize that Lee Kuan Yew was the Prime Minister of Singapore from 1959 to 1990. 1959 to 1990. So that was about 41 years that he was the Prime Minister of Singapore. So this wasn't built overnight. And even after he left, he became senior minister. And then later he became mentor minister, who was in charge of mentoring other prime ministers. So he ruled for about 50-something years before he died. And that taught me two lessons. So that will lead us to lesson number 3 and lesson number 4. Number 3 lesson from that is that real estate requires strong leadership. Okay? For you to succeed in real estate as a business, there's a need for strong leadership. You have to be a strong leader. It's not a business for weak. I remember visiting site one of those days where to take possession of an estate. And I went with some of my interns. And they were so shocked at how the cap I carried, because these guys had come out, they call themselves community guys, okay, demanding for 29 million naira as compensation before we could take possession of the land that were legally paid the rightful owner. Okay? And they were shocked to see another version of me that wasn't speaking good English. Okay? And they were really shocked. And I smiled after we were done with the meeting, and I made sure we took possession. I then asked them, I said, do you still want to learn real estate? They all busted into laughter. One of them said, sir, I think my energy needs to be reviewed. I need to work on a whole new level of energy if I'm going to be able to do real estate as a business. Why? Because real estate in itself is very complex. It's one of the most complex business you can ever do. Why? It involves everybody. It involves community. It involves interfacing with government. It involves interfacing with media. It involves interfacing with so many clients, your investors, the financial institutions, okay? It just involves everything. So to do real estate, you have to be a very, very dynamic leader. Okay, and I'm not surprised that Singapore did well, because Lee Kuan Yew is still one of the best leaders the world has ever seen. Transforming a very small trading island to a mega city of the world, one of the most desirable cities to visit. Now, one of the funny and shocking things about Singapore, part of the lessons, Singapore does not have any natural resources at all, not even one. It's a tiny island. In fact, let me give you a very exciting story. Singapore land is so small that over 20%, in fact, the entire place the airport is, the major airport in Singapore, the entire place was sandfield. So if you see what Dubai is doing, they picked it from Singapore. But Dubai was lucky. Dubai has desert. There's a lot of land. Are you aware that Singapore had to buy land, sand? Okay? Singapore had to buy sand from Indonesia, import the sand to Singapore to create an artificial island where the airport is. If you are aware, type I am aware. If you're not aware, type I'm not aware. Let me say it again. Are you aware? And this is part of why we need to think deep. We need to think creatively, because if you that you have all these natural resources cannot build a great city, a tiny island that does not even have land to build airport because it was just all water, had to import. Do you know, I mean, you can import many things, but imagine importing sand. Importing sand from Indonesia, okay, to Sanfil, literally half of, I mean, I remember we kept driving from the airport so that you understand how large the entire place that was Sanfil is. We're driving from the airport for about 20 minutes. The entire stretch we were driving was still the part that was sandfield, from sand from Indonesia. So imagine the entire city of Singapore, over 30% of it used to be water, and they had to import sand from Indonesia, right, to be able to sandfill and create this, 35%, over 30% of the entire city of Singapore. Okay, import sand. And this is why somebody said, powerful quote I love. I want everybody to type the quote. It is not what you don't have that limits you. It is what you have, but you don't know how to use. Everybody type it again. It is not what you don't have that limits you. It is what you have, but you don't know how to use. Come on, everybody, I want you to type it. It is not what you don't have that limits you. It is what you have, but you don't know how to use. Oftentimes we complain about so many things. I'm not able to be great because I didn't have this. I'm not able to do this or that because I didn't have this or that. But that's not what really limits you. What ultimately limits you and I is what we already have, but we don't know how to use. But we're not using it effectively. But we're not maximizing it very well. So everybody let me type it. It is not what you don't have that limits you. It is what you have, but you don't know how to use. Okay? These guys had to even create where the city is. Create artificial, I mean, I've heard of Sanfilling to build a lot of stuff. But to build a massive 4-terminal airport and major cities, and everything was built on an artificial island. I mean, I've seen a lot in Dubai, but apparently Dubai picked from Singapore that particular concept. And a strong leadership of Lee Kuan Yew made that possible. Strong leadership of Lee Kuan Yew. Number 4 lesson, still under Lee Kuan Yew, is that real estate takes time, right? Real estate takes time. When you look at how many years, in fact, when they asked him, why did he still have to become a senior minister and later become a mentor minister, he kept insisting that the people he was raising, who were going to continue the good policies that he started to revive and transform Singapore, were still young, and they needed more time for him to groom them. Okay? And so even after he left being prime minister, he still had an oversight leadership on the prime minister as he became a super minister. And then after that, they changed it to mentor minister, meaning he had the role of mentoring the other ministers who were still running the government. And this speaks a lot. I remember President Obasanjo sharing with me how he took some of his leaders to go and meet Lee Kuan Yew to train them, right? This was when Lee Kuan Yew had become a mentor minister, and he saw how Lee Kuan Yew started investing heavily on mentoring other people. And this is one of the things I've started doing as well, where we now have new CEOs, very young, they're in their 30s, okay? And I'm still investing hard in mentoring them. Because for me, I'm looking at the fact that in the next 10 years, these guys will have grown. I mean, if they are patient and they wait and they learn, they will have grown, they will have evolved, and their leadership will have risen to a better level. But one had to do the work, and you have to understand that it's not going to be overnight. The Singapore you're seeing today, even Lee Kuan Yew alone had to put in over 41 years as active prime minister. And even after he was no longer prime minister, another 20-something years still being involved in how the city is governed. Leadership is not easy. Real estate is not something that you can do overnight. It takes time. And I've said this oftentimes to even our own investors, right? What you need me to do, it will take us time. We will do it. We will build green and smart home, 25,000. We will build this massive investment. Your money that you are investing today will be worth a lot more years to come. But it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be abracadabra. It's not going to be something that you put in money today and tomorrow, boom, the whole thing has turned to huge. No, it will take time. And I'm conscious of that. Like I said, I've seen different cities of the world, and I'm very conscious of the fact that it wasn't overnight that these people were able to do it. It took time. And it's going to take us time as well. So real estate takes time. The word I always use here is TTT. Things takes time. Everybody help me type it. TTT. Things takes time. Everybody help me type it ASAP. TTT. Things takes time. TTT. Things takes time. TTT. Things takes time. Powerful word I always use and has always helped me. Things takes time. Okay, on Friday, 5:30, I'm organizing billionaire book signing here in Singapore. So if you're in Singapore, send me a DM. I would love to invite you for my book signing, the Billionaire Habits book series. It's going to be a wonderful time with me. It's a private moment. We're probably barely 10 to 15 people. Very intimate conversation about building wealth, about, the book and the lessons of how I evolved from nothing to building something massive. Okay, so I'm gonna end today's video here. Did you get value, guys? If you got value, type I got value, I got value. Let me know whether you got value. If you got value, type I got value, I got value, I got value. Come on, guys, talk to me. Do you get value? Okay, if you got value, type I got value, I got value. Things takes time. Yes, that's the word. TTT. Things takes time. You have to be conscious of that. It's never easy to build anything great. It will take time. Things takes time. Okay. So I'll wrap it up here, and tomorrow I continue, or later this evening. I definitely will work. It's already 3:39 p.m. here in Singapore. Well, I'll probably do another work, maybe 8 p.m. Singapore time. Like I said, we're 7 hours ahead of Nigeria, 14 hours ahead of the US, so way ahead and all that. So we'll come back again later in the day and share a lot more tips with you guys. Okay, but we'll wrap up here. Again, don't forget, if you're in Singapore, this Friday, 24th, 5:30 is a date with me, and we'll look together how to the Billionaire Habits series. It's going to be a wonderful time with me. 5:30. Love you all. Yeah, it's 8:39 in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm 7 hours ahead. Love you all. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye. Remember to keep sharing this video with your friends, tag your loved ones, and inform as many people to watch it. There's a lot of nuggets and great value. Love you all.